Welcome to the Late Flight Show. Where the flights are lights and the lights are bright. Where the lights are bright and the flights are light. Okay, we'll edit that. They always say we'll edit that, but we never edit that. Because we like to keep it raw here on the Late Flight Show, you see. We are the Gwyneth Paltrow of late flight entertainment. We like to keep it raw and natural, like Gwyneth Paltrow. So, the Kate Hudson one was something I talked about yesterday, about how I was molested by white boys in high school and driven to suicide and came back to life as an actor, as this character. And I was saying how, when I came back, the number one goal of this character, Charlie Manor, was to defend the body that was almost dead, that just happened to rise up from the dead to have a failed suicide attempt. So when that Charlie Manor was invoked in the body through the psyche or whatever, or invisible spirit, or whatever you want to call it, I call it the psyche. When that happened, the number one goal of that thing was to protect it using acting, which the original person, who I was, who died, had always wanted to be an actor anyway, just not in this way. But he's dead, so I guess beggars can't be choosers, right? Um, so when I came back to life, I had to protect myself because for the first 4 years of high school, I was literally molested. And then it was an all boys high school, so it was even worse molesting because boys can be nasty. So then in the fourth year, I died and came back to life. And then in the fifth year, I was Charlie Manor. And my movie came out in the fifth year. I was like someone else. But the same, but different. Like an alien. And the fun the fun part is that I got to practice my acting skill live in the school. So now in the fifth year, I discovered my Kate Hudson one. And my Kate Hudson is what protects me when I'm around white men who are the killer in my experience. I used to spend my time in the break in the library because if I went outside, they would throw salads at me. Like they would throw literal vegetables at me. Like literal tomatoes, lettuce. For no reason. Like what the mental institution is going on? Why are they on the loose? Those dirty mutts. But now that I'm on a higher vibration, because like Michelle Obama says, when they go low, we go high. We go way up high. On the Late Flight Show. So I had to defend myself against these white boys. So who do white boys love? Kate Hudson. I mean, I love Kate Hudson. You can't not love Kate Hudson. Have you seen her in that movie? Almost Famous. I mean, that is like who you picture her to be in real life. Except for the sad parts, but I mean, like, for like the cool, like, let's go party, like she's down for anyone, everyone, like she's the cool. Yeah, you wanna hang out with Kate Hudson. There's no moment in life you don't want to hang out with Kate Hudson under any circumstances. So as an actor, and this was before I even knew about technique. This was before college, so I didn't know there was Stella Adler. There was just I just knew there was Stanislavski. There was a method. I was more into psychology though, into researching in the library each break time after eating my lunch in the toilet. Um, I was researching serial killers because I wanted to know why are men like this. And I was young. I didn't know. I was trapped. You have to go to school. It's the law. So it's like you're being delivered to your own hell every day. So then I tried to research. Serious Ted Bundy. I knew Ted Bundy like the back of my hand by the time I was 14. I knew John Wayne Gacy. I knew Ed Gein. I could act them like the back of my hand because then I would study the boys in the school and look at all these signs. And I would read the book and then I'd go with my list and take notes. Literally. I would look at them and take notes and say, oh, this is the psychotic um, traits. This is the narcissistic personality disorder. This is psychosis coming in. There was one kid who used to inject me with needles. I mean, people think I'm insane. I, I mean, why else do you think this Charlie Manor is so extreme? Because he was being injected with needles every day. Never mind the molestation. And then parents deliver their kids to these schools every day, not knowing what's going on. I will never have kids after knowing what I know. To leave them in that kind of an environment where people so they love Kate Hudson, and literally I developed a character that was Kate Hudson and I used it to protect myself. And they stopped bullying me. Like I literally did this on a whim because when I came back to life, I I kind of saw things differently. So like after I tried to kill myself, I didn't see any white light or any God or revelation. It was just black, and then I woke up. And then there was something else though. There was like a kind of awareness that had come over me, and it was like talking to me in a very like it was always there, talking to me, but now I took it seriously, and it told me what to do, and it said do this, this, and this. It told me the name Charlie Manor. That it came from that thing in my psyche, like that thing that split. Because I mean, when you try to kill yourself, you're gonna come back different. Because psychologically, that's a trauma already. Because when you closed your eyes, you didn't expect to open them. So the fact that you're back, you are gonna be a hybrid, an alien. So then the voice is like saying, "Okay, do this." Then I asked my dad, like 5 years later, I'm telling him the story, and he's like, "You know, your great great grandfather's name is Charlie." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, he was the one who taught me like about life and stuff. Like he was my like dad, mentor, whatever. His great grandfather. So like my great great great." So it's like, oh, so this thing that came and saved me was like teaching me how to develop my acting. So it was like, okay, well, protect yourself, and it was on protection mode. Because I mean, I'm sure your ancestors get very angry when some kids bully their bloodline into death. Ancestors, I'm sure, would not be happy, and they are in our DNA. So when I say ancestors, I don't mean invisible things, I mean your DNA, unlocked part of your DNA, which is history, really. So um, when I woke up, I developed my Kate Hudson one. and I would literally be that surfer girl. And it's so weird, like I swear, like seriously, I ended up getting Matthew McConaughey, and it's not funny, and it's funny because it was an Irish person, like McConaughey. So acting is magical, you guys. Acting is so magical. Always on the late flight show. Like literally, I'm just realizing now it was an Irishman. So there was an Irish person in our class, and after I started doing this technique, which I later discovered in college to be transference or something, or substitution, but at the time it was save my life, stop me from being killed again or being like hurt and violated, um, because the teachers were doing nothing till it got to that point, or they were doing nothing. It's like sucking my lifeblood. Yo, when people use imagery of demons, I understand what they mean. Like, I don't believe in literal demons, like on Charmed, but I mean the imagery of people sucking your lifeblood. I can get that. I can understand that imagery, but I wouldn't mean it literally. But it's almost like they are sucking your lifeblood into a carcass. It's like being in the pit of hell and acting your way out of it, which I did. And that is both a sad thing because I'm mourning the death of myself, but it's a great thing because I'm celebrating my new life and that it actually works. It's not me. It feels like a constant violation. Well, that's the thing. Okay, let's talk about that. Actors feeling violated. I mean, yeah. I mean, in my professional acting, I don't because it's easy to choose roles and things like that. But in terms of like in life, obviously you have no control. So anyone can do anything to you, but on set there are rules. So in life acting, you do get violated, and it feels like a constant violation every time you are this person who came after death because it's not you. It'll never be you. That person is gone, and they stole that person. But that's not the person who's here now. And the person who's here now deserves to live, I guess. So you let, or to have a dream, or to just protect the body. It's like a self-defense, and that's important to protect the body because it's energy, and we need energy. Um, so when I put on this Kate Hudson character, it's just like when you go on set and you feel like this is embarrassing, this is going to be weird, but you just have to let go and do it. It's kind of like you've already been dehumanized. What's the worst that could happen if I go on set or school acting like Kate Hudson? And guess what? Kate freaking Hudson saved my freaking Hudson life. So thank you, Goldie Hawn, for making this this actress to save us, to teach us to save ourselves. And literally, the very people who were bullying me were sliding into my DMs now. Hence the Matthew McConaughey, who not only slid in my DMs but slid in other places. after I use this character. So now imagine you were this one person who would never have done that, who would never have done that, but they killed that person. This other person says, okay, I'm going to save you, or you are saved, you're alive, but it's not you now, it's this like hybrid Jesus person who's like, don't touch me for 40 days until I return to the Father. It's like you're that person forever. Like no one can ever touch you now because you have to return to the Father. And and that means, like, if you look at that scripture, what it really means is once you go through a process like that, you will always be like on your own because no one can touch you until you go back to the Father to to reorganize the fact that you are a living dead like Jesus. And the goal is to not be a zombie, but to be a a a a, an, a good one, a good living dead, who uses the creativity in a good way to benefit people. So I would go. So the first day, you know, you're nervous. First day set, you're nervous. So I went in and did my Kate Hudson like to the hilt. Like, hi, how are you guys doing? What's going on here? Oh, that looks really nice. What are you doing there? Oh, wow, where did you get that? Did you hear that song? Like, I used to go from hiding in the toilet, eating my lunch, to actually being, after the death situation, to talking to everyone. Because this character was like, in order to control the environment, you have to control everyone. So you have to talk to everyone so they can't kill you. As Kate Hudson. And then all of a sudden, they were sliding in the DMs, the Matthew McConaughey's. And then what do you do in that situation? Because now it furthers the rape. It's like a continual cycle of rape because now they've killed you from molesting you. You couldn't handle that, so you killed yourself and then came back to life. Then now you're this character that Oprah even talks about, that after she was abused, she was promiscuous. So you're this character who's Kate Hudson ing around town, and then they love it. So now then they want you to give up the goods. And then you feel like you have to because you have to keep the storyline going to protect the character. So you just keep getting hashtag me too'd. And I think that's why people who are abused go into those situations over and over again. Psychically, they go into it. People say, oh, why do you keep attracting abusive people? It's because you look for situations that are bad so that you can control them to not be in further bad situations. And the way you control them, unfortunately, is the way that usually works, which is sexually, through sex magic. Um, I mean, and that's why hashtag Me Too is what it is as well. You keep going. You say, oh, but so this is working. Like I'm being a minx, so now they like it. They're not bullying me. They're not hurting me. They like me, but they like me for something else that I don't want to do. They want to hashtag Me Too me. And then you do it because you have to protect yourself even more, and then you become more and more this other character, and you start to then take a step back metacognitively and look at the two personalities and look at the two characters, the pre-death one, the real one, and the manufactured one. And you start to look at artifice and the nature of Hollywood and film and anything that's seen on the media. It's all artifice. But it doesn't mean that artifice is bad. In this whole postmodern thing, we've lost fact or sight of the fact that artifice comes from real pain. And that's what this whole thing shifted my thinking of acting. Because it taught me that yes, acting and media now today is fake with the whole paparazzi culture and mass media consumption. It is fake. All of it is fake. But it still has huge artistic merit because it comes from death, which is what we are all facing. We're all going to die, and that's what all theater is about. Theater is about life and death. Because that's all that we do on earth. We live and we die. No one has figured out how to skip that part, except me, apparently. And other artists, that's our treasure, that we know the secret of death as artists. So, because we've died once, it's like, you know what song really resonated with me when all of this was happening? James Bond, You Only Live Twice by Nancy Sinatra. And also, I guess, Madonna, Die Another Day, because both of them are about living two lives, and having one life that you know is your real life, the one that's taken away from you by other people who, can't train their kids, who can't muzzle their brood. And then you get I didn't mean to cuss them out. They just took me to the foot of the cross for a second there. Completely took me off my train. You see, that's the thing. You always have that with you, so they rob you of your comfort because they will always be in your mind, the bullies. So it doesn't get better, no, like I always say, but you make it better. So it basically just continues the cycle until you step back and realize that you are a hybrid character, yes. However, this new person that you are is an artifice. It's not a real person. It can never be a real person because it has been robbed of its innocence, of its joy, of its pleasure, of its innocence. It's gone. It will forever be gone. It can never come back. So whatever is left is fake. But isn't it beautiful that nature or God or whatever you want to call it, invisible people, spirits, I don't care. I don't really care. But isn't it beautiful that that thing allows life to thrive? That you could put concrete over the ground, but that green shrub or green little root will come up in between the concrete. Isn't that beautiful? So although I'm a fake artifice, I'm a character, that was a bit redundant, I'm not real. I exist in your imagined reality. Even though that might be true, or in a version of a reality that exists on earth, even though that might be true or not true, the fact is, it's beautiful and more profound that it was allowed to happen. When all events were making it happen a certain other way. And that's ultimately how Kate Hudson saved my life. And how I met Matthew McConaughey. And literally in my class was The Irishman. And it also started with an M. Wow. Thank you, Hollywood gods, for blessing me with an experience. So basically, I've acted in Kate Hudson's romantic comedies. That is the moral of the story. Acting is life. Keep doing it and keep flying. Good night.